Hill is entering rarefied air. It's just he's gotten faster, which is weird. Just something about it. And all he needs is a dunk like Tua that's just accurate, throws him those softballs that he just out in front of him, and he just doesn't stop his momentum. It's just insane.
Well, could you imagine if somehow it was Josh Allen and Tyreek Hill, and Allen just like, you know what, dude? Just run forever, and I'm going to throw it as far and high as I can and get under it.
They played 12 games, right? The Dolphins have.
Yep.
He is 483 yards away from Calvin Johnson's 1,964-yard record.
Oh, yeah, he's going
over that.
Oh, he's killing it. He might have 2,000 yards this year.
That's what. And by the way, has any quarterback stood out to you where you go, that guy's the MVP?
That's my point.
No.
That's my point.
No. But here's the thing. Last night, I had these in my notes for the other day. I don't know why we didn't talk about it. Last non-quarterback is 2012 and Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Last non-quarterback was 2012, Adrian Peterson. And I wrote down generally a 2K wide receiver or somebody close. Like you mentioned, I wrote down Jerry Rice. Remember, Montana won it twice. Steve Young won it another year when Rice went off because you're going to give it to the quarterback that's throwing and adding up all the yardage and the stats.
To Patrick's point, Tua is shorter odds to win the MVP.
Tua is shorter than Hill?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Tua doesn't have the year without Tyreek Hill just burning people.
No, but Patrick makes a great point, right? He just gave 3 MVP years of 49ers quarterbacks with Jerry Rice. The year I mentioned, 87, what I confused was Jerry Rice had 22 touchdowns in 12 games, an obscene number, but he still didn't win MVP.
See, the problem with betting awards markets always is the donk factor. There's so many donks with votes for these awards.
It's like the Heisman.
And, they're just kind of like, oh, this quarterback had a good year. He's the MVP. How many times you watch him play? 3 times? 2 times? 1 time? Oh, you looked up the box score? That's how you're voting for MVP?
Dude, Dan Campbell won Coach of the Year before the season started.
Brock Purdy is the favorite for MVP. He's not even the MVP of his team.
I agree with you completely.
I totally agree. He's 3-1.
He's 3-1. He had an opportunity to prove he was an MVP without a bunch of weapons where you could say, you know what? Brock Purdy is the leader of this team. He's the best player on this team, and they lost 3 straight.
Hold on. Okay, settle down. Let's throw it up because I want to get a pick from both of you on the list that we're showing right now. Throw it up for the boys. Brock Purdy, Dak, Jalen, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Lamar Jackson.
I hate to say it, guys.
Pick one of that list.
I'm going Dakota Prescott. And nobody rags on him more than I do.
I'm going Dak Prescott.
I won't do Dak because I said last week bet him at 9-1 before it moves, and I didn't bet it. Tyreek Hill is my MVP. I stand by it.
No, I said on the board, donk.
Lamar.
Just as you called everybody donks, you gave somebody off the board. Look at you, Cheetah. Brock Purdy is shortened all the way up to 3-1 in the market over at DraftKings. And Dustin, I believe there, as you're sitting at the Circa book, I believe you made a play on Tyreek Hill. We've never had a wide receiver win the award, but you're banking on history being made this year.
Well, and part of this is like being angry at myself for not jumping on numbers a few weeks back. There was like week 3, week 4 in the season. Can't remember who San Francisco was playing, and I said to JVT, I was like, I think 50-1 on Brock Purdy disappears after this week. And he was like, no, come on, dude. He can't win MVP. He convinced me he couldn't. I'm not blaming JVT. I've placed bets many times after Amal told me they were horrible bets. So that's on me. I regret not betting that, even though I don't think he is the MVP. He is the shortest shot on the board right now. So I missed out on that. Dak Prescott a couple weeks ago, I said 9-1. It's going to go away if they win. Of course, now he's shortened up plus 350. So I have not made enough moves because I have some PTSD after betting Kirk Cousins 130-1, and then he got injured the next week. So when I look at what I have for MVP, I don't have a lot in this market right now. I have Myles Garrett at 300-1. I have Cousins, as I said, which is dead at 130-1. And then I have Lamar Jackson at 13-1. And in the break, I added Tyreek Hill 25-1.
I'll just add this. Patrick, you brought up a great point. There's no wide receiver that's ever won the MVP. I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to be the first guy to do it when you've had players like Jerry Rice and Calvin Johnson, and then Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown, right? Receiving catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns for wide receiver. He didn't win it. He got Offensive Player of the Year. I think that's what happens to Tyreek Hill. I think he wins Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, I think it's circumstance,
if Hurts struggles, Prescott, and again, we don't. And Brock Purdy, maybe voters don't want to go that way. If it turns into a novelty discussion, where he's going to break the 2K. He sets a record as far as receiving yards. If it turns into a novelty discussion that gains momentum, what's different about voting in 2023 as compared to back in the day is social media has an influence on these donks. So, like, social media starts almost like, I guess it's like a snowball coming down a hill. Like, it starts to gain momentum, and you can almost start to feel the betting market is impacted. I would agree with you. My assumption is he's not going to win it. Dustin got a price, so at 25-1. What is DraftKings sitting on Tyreek Hill?
DraftKings is 16-1. Here's my concern. It's not even the on the field. How much does his history, his transgressions off the field, he got into a thing this past offseason. There's been so many incidents. Will the voters not reward him?
Yeah, that's a good point. What does it tell us? Right now,
it's open.
It's 3-1 on Brock Purdy. So I was completely wrong. I said, I think defenses are going to figure him out. That's obviously not the case.
Same.
But it tells you these talent evaluators are legitimately clueless. Would you take the 16th overall pick, Kenny Pickett, over the last pick in the draft, Brock Purdy? I'm guessing none of us would at this point.
What would
How good would Pittsburgh be with Brock Purdy right now?
And what would Kenny Pickett look like in Shanahan's system? He'd still stink.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And by the way, to your guys' point about the talent evaluation, I saw a statistic on Quentin Johnson, the receiver from the Chargers.
Ooh, another big drop.
And then you look at the 10 receivers after him, they all have more yards.
Yeah, no, I was wrong on him too. He's a big receiver that just doesn't get open.
No.
There's no separation.
He should have been a strong safety because he can't catch.
Yeah, the hands aren't great either. Brock Purdy, so 3-1 on Purdy. It's like, again, the analysis in Pickett, he's done nothing wrong. If I'm being, I keep on crushing Pickett, but didn't you tell me the other day he hasn't turned the ball over in 8 games?
Yeah, hasn't had an interception in 8 games, yep.
He's Case Keenum.
So
that's all he is. He's Case
nothing
Keenum.
Wrong? What's that?
He's Case Keenum. That's what his ceiling is. He's literally Case Keenum. He's going to protect the football. He's a little athletic. He's pretty accurate. Doesn't have a great deep ball, but he cannot lose you games if you manage things correctly.
Didn't you guys think in his rookie year he looked like he was trending in the right direction? I'm not saying he was going to be some great superstar.
Towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit, it's not Najee slow. He does appear to me to be moving a little bit slow. Like when I'm watching Purdy's crisp. Like there's a compact throwing motion. Like I don't know what it is about Pickett. He always just looks like he's languishing a little bit. I have no clue why.
Purdy's got a ballet gallop to him the way he moves around out there. I don't know that you're right. There's a spring in his step and he has long strides. It's a little different.
The gloves don't help Pickett. The gloves kind of make him seem like a donk. For being honest. It's an odd look. So Brock Purdy, and that shortened up. What was it before the 49ers went to Philly and put a beat down on them?
4-1, 5-1.
Oh, so it didn't shorten up that much.
I'm not buying Jalen Hurts either at the second shot on the board, 350 right now. Guys, he has 10 interceptions. He has a bunch of fumbles. That team doesn't look great. I don't understand him being that high. And here's the thing about the Eagles that's annoying me too. A year ago, the Vikings win all these one-score games, and they're a regression candidate. They're getting lucky. But Philly wins these one-score games, and you know what? They just find a way. It's funny how the narratives are always moving around on these teams depending on how we feel about them.
Goalpost, baby. Goalpost. Move them. All right. Mahomes 8.5-1. Lamar 9-1. Tyreek. DraftKings. That gives you an idea why we're always talking about shopping. DraftKings is showing 16-1, so that means they have some liability there at the book. We can ask our buddy Brendan White about that on Thursday. Of course, the U.S. team lead on the trading floor at DraftKings.
I have a question. I'm going to throw this one out there. It just kind of popped in my brain, and I'm just going to get it from the brain to the mouth here. It's going to take a minute. There's not a lot of good options. All of these guys have warts. And if a quarterback's got to win the award, and I understand he had a horrible first half, is Jordan Love at 200-1 if he throws the Packers into the playoffs?
No, I thought you were going to say Stroud at 30.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
I think the voters are kind of weird where they won't give him 2 awards. I don't trust them to. And he's in the mix. He should be in the mix.
If this guy didn't have one bad game against Arizona.
Yeah, but the thing is, the guys above him have all had bad games, but somehow it's held against him harder.
Yeah, exactly.
My man came at us with Jordan Love. Are you okay?
I told
Analysis paralysis. You just want another futures ticket.
Yeah,
don't you?
you know what? I placed one. I hadn't placed one since Kirk Cousins, and you know what? It's like when you scratch the itch, but there's something wrong, and it keeps itching, so you keep scratching it over and over again. It's kind of what the futures market is for me.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.